of a side sort of Melina on writing thing, because I think this is kind of important. I don't know if it's really advice, but anyway, here it goes. There are two types of historical fiction. There is historical fiction like Forever Amber, which are fictional characters in a historical setting. And then there's historical fiction like Philippa Gregory's historical people in a historical setting. Now, Forever Amber, this is by Kathleen Winsor. Highly recommend this book. It's so good. I mean, the main character is a total bitch, but it's so good anyway. It's long, but trust me, it's over before you know it, and it's over. Sorry, not about that. But when you write historical fiction, but with fictional characters, that's when you have a lot of, leeway to create your character however you think would be best. But you also get to put them in a unique environment. Not unique, but it's good to go back in time, I think, because you have to do actual research. And because you're kind of going into a whole new world that we have to really imagine, especially if we don't know much about it. So, the one thing I would say about writing historical fiction, even if it's from even when fictional people are involved, is to make sure you're being accurate. This is the one thing where you cannot bullshit research. If you bullshit research, and you should not be writing historical novels, period. I mean, I like this book because not only is it historical, really, but also, even though they mix fictional people with real people, they mix it in a way where it makes sense. I mean, it takes place during Charles II, and he was known for having a lot of mistresses. So giving him another miscellaneous mistress with Amber is like, well, whatever, that kind of makes sense. He had a lot of them. So all I have to say is when you do historical fiction, do it accurately. And I understand people like to solidify history and make everything raunchy like it's to Tudors. But just keep in mind that, even if your person likes to be all hooty-hoo and get all down and stuff, I don't have a problem with that. But just remember, there was no contraception back then. So don't give her some kind of magic room where she can't get knocked up if she's a fertile woman. She don't get pregnant. Then there's historical fiction like Philippa Gregory's series, and it's gonna be a rant about her too, I think. When you write historical fiction with historical people, you have very little leeway. You have characteristics about that person already set up. You have to build on those and work with that. You cannot make up your own stuff. And if you want to be biased when you write historical fiction, you can, I suppose, but expect to get yelled at. Because I've read The Other Boleyn Girl, The Boleyn Inheritance, and The Constant Princess. And I look at them from two viewpoints. Half as fiction, half as history. And from my fictional side, I think it's an entertaining read. From my historian side, I get very pissed off with her work. Plus, she irks me personally because she thinks she's the shit. Like, she invented Mary Boleyn. Another topic. But, what really irked me in The Other Boleyn Girl was the total demonization of Anne Boleyn. I mean, I'm not the biggest Anne Boleyn fan in the world. I mean, I like her. I think she's very interesting personality-wise. Attitude-wise, not so much. I'm more Aragon fan. But I still like Anne Boleyn. They demonized her in this book so terribly. For absolutely no reason but to make her the villain, which was ridiculous. What was also ridiculous is that this Mary Boleyn is completely, nearly 100% fictional. Okay, Mary Boleyn was known as the Great Prostitute. She slept with the King of France, other miscellaneous men. She was known as the Great Prostitute, as the English Mare. She was not some sweet virginal girl. She was the older sister. And she was not a good girl. In the end, she did marry William Saffold and all that stuff, and that was a happy ending. That was great. But she was a slut. And in this book, she touches on none of that. But yeah, wants to say that she has historical things in it. Like, get the fuck out of here. That was annoying me about this book. I mean, it's interesting, yes, but when you're doing historical fiction with real people who actually existed, they have characteristics. This stuff really happened. You're not making it up. You cannot give someone a fake biography when you have a whole thing where you can look up people about them. Hell, use Wikipedia if you're feeling lazy. Okay, The Boleyn Inheritance is somewhat better, except, I don't know, for some reason the whole thing with Captain Howard irked me. I think they made her a little bit dumber than I think that she really was. I don't think she was as dumb as they made her sound in this book. But between this, The Constant Princess, and The Other Blind Girl, this was the better book in my opinion. The Constant Princess I let my friend borrow. Here's my problem with The Constant Princess. I don't have a problem with, Catherine and Arthur having sex. I can understand why some people want to say that. You want to assume that? Okay, I can work with that. I can deal with it, even though I don't believe she has sex with the guy. What I don't believe is that Catherine of Aragon, daughter of Isabel and Ferdinand, the creators of the Spanish Inquisition, would dress up in a harem outfit to seduce Arthur. That's where I started laughing. I'm like, really, Flipper Gregory? Really? And then Isabella and Ferdinand were like, they respected the Moor culture? Please, let's get the fuck out of there right there. I mean, let's just go off that topic. That's not even a question. That's not logical in any way. They were not tolerant. There's no way in hell she would dress up as a harem girl to seduce her husband. There is no way that would happen. And if you want to do historical fiction and do it, really weird personality-wise, make sure that's really stated on the back. Make sure it's satire or what a situation. Don't try to present it as this is fact. Because even though she doesn't present this as fact, she makes it sound in her interviews like she did some research and she's like, this is exactly what happened. This is what I think happened. No. So, just in a nutshell, historical fiction with fictional characters, you got leeway. Have fun with the character you're making, but make sure you remain accurate to the time period and the laws of that time period. Real people and real setting, be true to the people you're writing about, because they're not characters, they're actual people. And yes, you can broaden your ideas, yes, you can make them have dual complexes with their original kind of characteristics, but do not take someone who was known as the great prostitute and try and pass her off as an innocent virgin. It just makes us historian people sick.